I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna work. But I was washing dishes in the sink. The water's running. The water's like a conduit or whatever. And I get this download that I need to create this sort of like video series called Confessions of a Fleshy Star. So, yeah, I talk about spiritual beings being called fleshy stars because you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And so this sort of came up because I've been having a lot of like aha moments, like epiphanies in the last 2 weeks. So the last 2 weeks, I had this really intense like healing session with one of my girlfriends named Mariko, and she's like a shaman, and she does like kind of somatic movement of energy through the body, and she helped move energy from my womb space, my sacral chakra, my root out, and I cried really hard. And then there was stuck energy in my heart that she helped me move out, and I cried really, really hard. Like, I've cried, that was like the hardest I've cried in like the past 5 years. It was like really intense. And then there was some stuck energy like in my throat that I like sort of like groaned and moaned out. And that was like sort of like a cork got popped. Like, you know, you shake like a wine bottle or something, or some sort of carbonated beverage, and then like everything just sort of pops, and so it's all like exploding out. And so that was like my pop. And so like every other day after that, I've been like feeling like my body's been talking to me. There's like this deep, heavy feeling in my body, and I'll like lean into it, like I'll focus on it, and I'll be like, what are you trying to tell me? And then I'll hear what it is, and then I'll feel it, and then, you know, I'll love it, and then I'll let it go, and it'll move through, and I'll like cry, I like move through this energy. So it's been happening for like the last 2 weeks. And my husband and I are getting this detox. It's a 15-day detox through a program that uses spooky to scalar frequency. So I gave them like my thumbnail. I like clipped my thumbnail so they could have my DNA, and they put it in this frequency machine. And so for 24 hours, like for each scheduled day, like it'll send frequencies to my DNA. So like the first 2 days were detoxing heavy metals. The second day was detoxing, or the third day was detoxing forever chemicals. The fourth and fifth day was systemic toxins. The sixth day was intestinal toxins. Today was systemic toxins number 3 day. Tomorrow is going to be parasites and liver cleanse, and so on and so forth, for 15 days. And I can feel it. I feel like I'm high all the time. I feel good. I'm drinking half a gallon of shungite water a day, shungite elixir in a glass container. Before breakfast, I'm drinking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with a tablespoon of lemon in like 8 ounces of water to alkalize my body. And so yeah, that's like what I've been doing lately too, and that's been helping me purge old patterns and stuck energy and physical things from my body. And so that's been transformative. I know this is working because I sang for 3 hours straight on Saturday for the first time in years. Before I had COVID the first time in December 2021, I haven't been able to sing like that. Like I get like lungy, throaty stuff. I get like, and I didn't have that. And I'm feeling better. Like my allergies are getting better. I actually feel good. Like I went for a walk, and I wasn't like dying or like breathing hard or like wheezy. Like I'm getting better. It's like a fucking miracle. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I really like these people that we're partnering with in Remind in Springfield, Oregon. They're really cool. They do energetics. So I really appreciate them. Like, I feel like I'm getting my life back. And they do like a biofield. They measure your biometrics from your fingers. So they take like scans of your fingertips and they put it in a system, and it can tell you like what's going on with your organs and like your energetics of your body and like how much energy you're exerting, or like if, you know, my heart's apparently not doing very well. So that was like, oh my God, I'm glad we're here. And so they printed out like pages that show like traditional Chinese medicine meridians and stuff. So I took him to my acupuncturist today, and boy, did we have a breakthrough moment today. Like, I told her I was really worried about my heart, and she like looked over like the charts of like all the systems, the yang and yin systems that are out of balance in my body, and she put a bunch of needles in, and I like had some crying breakthroughs. I like reclaimed my shin, which is energy from your heart. I reclaimed my shin energy from a person. Like, it was fucking wild. So yeah, I had like a super big breakthrough today, and I've just been having all these sorts of like breakthrough moments in the past 2 weeks. Yesterday, I was listening to some spiritual podcasts. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, but he's, I can't think of his name. I'm not gonna try. But, so one of my clients went to one of his retreats, and like I've heard of him, and like I was aware of this fellow. I can't think of it. But I listened to this podcast. It just sort of called out to me. And I had this realization that, like, the past 2 years have been really intense. I've been, like, sick. I've been battling with, like, health issues. I've been, like, depressed. I've been, like, going through some shit. And, you know, I used to, like, just say it was, like, God's will, you know? Source's will. And I had this realization that it's actually my will. Like, I've been making myself sick, which is so true. Like, I, like, fell into, like, this pit of, like, I'm never going to get better, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just always going to be, like, messed up for the rest of my life. And, like, I had this aha moment, and I don't know, I feel like there's this energetic wave that I'm riding. Like, things are, like, building momentum. Like, the new year, like, this cleanse, like I'm getting better, okay? But I feel like I'm riding this wave, and, like, I'm transforming. And I actually feel like for the first time in a long time, I'm, like, taking my own power back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm gonna get better. Like, I know it. I feel it. Like, I'm gonna get better. Like, this is it. Like, I'm deciding that I'm going to get better. I'm going to, like, recover. Like my body is strong. My system's gonna recover. I'm gonna be, like, back to dancing and, like being more active, like I like to be. And I just feel like this positive forward momentum going. And so, like, I just felt that yesterday. And I keep having, like, more aha moments where, like, I'm just awakening to, like, my old patterns and restructuring them and, like, moving through stuff. And I feel, like, really good. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm getting better. And I'm, like, so incredibly happy and proud of myself. Like, I just, you know. And then I was listening to another podcast where I was drawing with Sharpie on my bathroom wall. I've been doing the astrological signs. I have 11 of them done. It's taken me since August because of, like, me just going through my shit. Like, I finally am getting them done. It's amazing. Like, oh my gosh. Thank you, acupuncture. But so I heard this podcast today, and it was talking about, oh gosh, where am I going with this? Oh, I know. So, I'm empathic. I'm sensitive to energies and things. Clearly, like, my new day job is that I'm a Reiki master, and I do past life regression hypnosis, and talk to people's higher selves. And do quantum sound healing. So, like, clearly, I'm a sensitive, empathic person. But, so, it kind of was talking about the energy of this year, 2024, and how we've been expanding. And I guess since 2017 to like 2025, there's this big, like, expansive energy, and we're shifting and we're evolving, and it's like really fast and intense. And I guess this year it's supposed to be like more progress, like more expansion. And I feel that. I do. But it helped me to reframe and understand like the last 2 years that have been really heavy for me. So like the end of 2021 when I had COVID, 2022, 2023, they were like heavy. They're like heavy years, like dense years, like really shadow work, depression, like just going through shit, like hard stuff, like feeling not myself. Like I hadn't been feeling like myself for a while. I feel like I've been lost, like not knowing who I am, what I'm doing, like what's going on. I also got married and moved across the country, and like I was going through a bunch of stuff, and then past things that were like coming up from my past that I haven't like processed through, that were just like sort of stuck in there. And so this guy was saying that empathic people who want to disassociate because the world's so awful, which I feel like that, like since a child, I felt like this world was too much. Like I really felt like this is not the kind of place I would want to be. So I volunteered, my soul volunteered to pick this body, me, Logan, this body. My soul volunteered to be here in the form of Logan. And me, is here to help with like the ascension of vibration, frequency, consciousness, the rise of consciousness, like the evolution of like everybody on earth. Well, with free will. Everybody who operates under free will, people who want to come, who want to evolve, who want to be, in the vibration of love and Christ consciousness and building the new earth, a better world, the fifth dimension, whatever you want to call it, okay? And so, like, I identify with that. I've always known that since I was, like, a little girl, that I was just, like, I don't know, too bright for this world, very bright. Very loving, very open and happy and like optimistic, and like dark parts of the world, lower vibrations, like hurt. They like make me sad, like I disassociate. So the last 2 years I've been disassociating and feeling numb and feeling depressed, and it's because apparently, which this makes sense to me as like a big aha moment, I've been transmuting collective consciousness energy. I've been helping to transmute and heal old generational patterns and karma and power structures. And like, that's what my husband and I do. That's what our relationship is about. That's what a lot of divine counterparts relationships are about. And it is about like ascending and raising your vibration. But like, I feel totally that like, I've been going through stuff that's like, partly not mine, and it feels overwhelming at times. And I finally feel like I have integrated and embodied enough light that I am able to like go out in public again and like move my body and like start being a normal person. And it's just like, I don't know who else feels like that out there. I'm sure people do. Like, that's why I'm doing the Confessions of a Fleshy Star, because like we need to be talking about this. We need community. We need to like talk about the things that like we have been experiencing. So yeah, I feel like that's really important stuff to be sharing, is that I'm expanding and feeling like I'm finally moving through stuff. But speaking of that, so the last year, we've been having an increase of solar flares, I guess, since like 2017. This whole like expansion portal through 2017 to 2025. So we've been having an increase of solar flares. Last year, so a typical normal year, you'll have 4 solar flares. Last year we had over 500 solar flares. And like, they were really intense. I thought I was like sick, like every other week. Well, every 2 weeks, every other 2 weeks, the whole year of 2023. I like couldn't do anything. Like it was like debilitating. I feel like it was a combination of the solar flares. I feel like it was a combination of long COVID. And I feel like it was a combination of like mold toxicity because we lived in an RV and it rained for 7 months in Oregon during the winter and it was moldy when we moved out. When we bought and moved into our new home. So there's that. But aside from my health and like my crippling depression and stuff, I feel like it was very energetic because like I was having like the weirdest pains, the weirdest moving pains, like weird heart palpitations. Like I had, so the first day of January 1st, 2023, I almost left my body. I almost died. Like it was intense. I got this, I purged, like my ear's ringing. I was so sick. I was so sick. I thought I was gonna leave. Was like on the floor of the RV crying, rocking back and forth, telling my husband I didn't want to leave my body. I didn't want to die. So it was like this huge death of the ego. I had to like surrender. I like laid down. It was like like 12 hours of my day, like feeling like this, like feeling like I was gonna croak, like having cold sweats, hot flashes, like feeling sick, like pooping like no other. Like I couldn't believe how much stuff was coming on me, trying to drink water, trying to eat bread, trying to ground myself. Like it was so crazy. And so I finally like surrendered. I laid down and I'm like, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. This is it, I was crying. I was pretty emotional. And I called out to one of my mentors. She's an 85-year-old healer. I called out to Star, and then her lineage holder Esperanza, who's on the spirit side. And I asked them, and I asked my spirit team to like just come and help me. Like I was just like, I was at a loss. I thought I was gonna leave the planet. And then I felt like warm hands, like Reiki healing hands, like touching me. And I felt like energy moving, and I'm settling down. And then in my mind's eye, I'm like getting an initiation into the violet flame, the order of the violet flame, the violet flame Reshi, which is the 15th dimension. And so like, oh my gosh, it was just so powerful. I saw my angel wings. I saw my angel wings sprout out of my back, and I had like armor on and a sword, and like Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron were there, and Archangel Michael like initiated me into the order of the violet flame. And I just cried tears of joy. I drew it, because I always draw my metaphysical experiences, but like I just cried. I cried because it was really intense, and it was pretty much like you gotta step up and you gotta be here. Like it's important for you to be here. And so that was the first day of January 2023. And then seriously, like every 2 weeks for that whole year, 2 weeks, I would be like high as a kite, like being outside doing stuff. And then 2 weeks I'd be like in the bed having weird shit happen to me, having like these weird neck pains, weird like all over body pains. I'd have like weird pains from like my root all the way to my crown. Like it was kundalini stuff. It was like stuck stuff. Like it was fucking crazy. I feel like a crazy person when I talk to it. But a lot of people here in Eugene who are like our spiritual tribe, they'd have weird stuff happening to them too. And a lot of them had similar, like when I'd have neck pains, like when the really big like X-class solar flares would hit, like I'd have these weird neck pains and they'd have them. And so it was like finally comforting, but we weren't talking about them until about like August, when I'm like, hey, so, because I was kind of suffering in silence. I'm unfortunately one of those, but I'm breaking out of it. Now I'm talking about it. But like I'd suffer in silence. And so then I'm just like, hey, so like, I have these weird pains because of solar flares, and it's weird. And a lot of my friends are like, oh yeah, me too. I'm like, oh my God, it's not just me. I thought I was like dying. I thought like, I don't know, but I knew I wasn't dying because I trust myself and my intuition and what my body tells me, but it was fucking crazy. So I had crazy death of the ego then. And then I had another crazy death of the ego in September. I smoked a little bit of weed. I quit for a whole year. We live in Oregon, it's legal. Mushrooms are legal. Still haven't done those yet. I mean, I have, but not living in a legal state, whatever. But so I smoked a little bit of weed. We just had like a raga class. My husband and I do Indian raga singing, which is like Kriya yoga. So you're moving the kundalini up while you sing. And it was really expansive. And I just needed to integrate, so I smoked some weed. Well, I didn't realize that a solar flare was impacting the earth the night that I smoked weed. And it was like, I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12, I went to bed. And I woke up maybe at like 1 in the morning and like my heart was palpitating. Like I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I'm like, fuck. So like I'm trying to like breathe and calm myself down and like talk good to myself, and it just was not working. I was not doing well. I stood up and like my whole body was like shaking. I had like hot, cold sweats. And I'm like, oh no. And so like I went upstairs and I'm like pooping, like feeling awful. Like I feel like I'm gonna kill over. Like I fucking kid you. I feel like I'm gonna kill over. And so then like I get my husband up because I'm like, something's going on. I'm feeling weird. And so he comes and he's like sitting on the toilet while I'm like taking a bath. And I'm like trying to like get myself through taking a bath. And I feel not as bad, but I still feel bad. And so then like we didn't have the grounding mat on our bed downstairs, and in our guest bed we had a grounding mat. So like we laid on the grounding mat. And I actually finally got to go to sleep. I needed to be grounded. And then we wake up in the morning, he snuggled me to like protect me and help me get through it, And the next morning, there was a dead bird that hit the window, and it was lying dead outside on the ground. And that gave me crazy chills because that bird sacrificed itself for me. It was so, oh my gosh. So Shanti, our raga teacher, came over. She's an older woman in her 70s. She came over and we had a funeral for the bird. She's a Tibetan Buddhist. So she, sang some mantra, and we buried the bird. We had a bird funeral and we thanked the bird. And yeah, I had 2 ego deaths in 1 year, and they were fucking wild. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to get through it. But the big test of all of these is like, I've learned when they happen is to go into your heart and just surrender to God, surrender to what is, and just be like, and I keep having to come to these, every time I have these ego deaths, I'm like, I get through whatever's happening, struggle, and then I'm like, I lived a good life. I was a good person. I tried my best. If this is it, this is it. I make peace with it, And then it's just like, it's over. It's like all this struggle, all this weird stuff that I had to go through. It's like, well, that's what we just needed you to do, is just surrender. Just surrender into love, into source, that, you're safe and protected as you are, and everything's going to be okay, no matter what. When it's your time, it's your time. And so, like, I have a big fear of death. I came into this life with a big fear of death because of one of my past lives. So when I was between 3 and 5, I'd have these recurring nightmares, and I'd sleepwalk. And it was my past life in ancient Egypt. And this was before, like, I really knew about past lives. I didn't even realize I was going to be getting into past life regression work with hypnosis. Like, I didn't know any of this at all. But I had this past life in a dream. And it was my ancient Egyptian past life. And it was how I died. And so I was Pharaoh's daughter. I was about 5 in this past life. And it was how I died. Somebody pushed me into a pit in the sand, and there were like wooden spikes in the pit, and it impaled my upper thigh on my left side, and that's how I died. I got impaled there, and I died. And that's where I have a big birthmark. And so I would have this recurring dream for years, sleepwalking. And I was always afraid of death. Like, my mom would come and read bedtime stories to me, and I wouldn't want her to leave because I was afraid to go to sleep because I was afraid to die. Wild. So I'm having a lot of these death of the egos things to get through, like my fear of death. But to kind of give you a little more information, after my Kundalini awakening in 2018, I was in grad school. My ex-husband tried to kill me. I went through a Kundalini awakening because of a traumatic experience. And I got this vision coming into my third eye while I was going to the graduate art studio to make art. And so it was like my heart was starting to palpitate and I was getting this vision. So I'm like running up the stairs to like my studio, and I shut the door and I sit down and like meditation pose, and then it just floods in. And so it was like I got my dream, my recurring nightmare expanded in my mind's eye. I got this vision. So the person leading me to the pit in my past life in ancient Egypt was one of my best friends, Uncle Nate, who was in grad school with me, who was there the night that my ex-husband tried to kill me with a loaded gun, and he put himself between me and the loaded gun, and he channeled this energy through him and out his heart, this crazy spiritual energy that knocked over my ex-husband and the gun, and it went like on the floor, and all the bullets fell out of the clip, and it was wild. So I could run up the stairs and get my cat, and then we could leave. And so like I had that vision of Uncle Nate killing me, being my perpetrator in my past ancient Egyptian life. And so he was honoring a soul contract with me to save me because he killed me in a past life, and so he was saving me in this life. And like, I remember after that happened, I called him up and I told him, and we both got goosebumps, and like, as when I was sitting and like receiving this download and receiving this vision, like I was doing this thing where I was like forgiving and honoring the soul contract and releasing him, and like doing all these things. Like, I don't know. Like, some of the stuff during my Kundalini awakening was so above my head. It happened. I don't know. I try to explain sometimes, but it's just like, hey. So I called him and I told him, and he got goosebumps, and we talked, and I said that like, you honored your soul contract with me. I'm so grateful for you. I love you. And yeah, so past life stuff. I think I'm out of juice for now. I think that was kind of some stuff that I wanted to talk about. 2024 is going to be a good year. It's going to be expansive. We're still going to be going through stuff, but I feel that I'm going to be forward progress movement and feeling better. I really do. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for my guides. I'm grateful for myself. I'm grateful for loving myself and connecting with myself more. Like, it's going to be good. So this was episode 1 of Confessions of a Fleshy Star. I'll be your tour guide, Logan, on this journey of being vulnerable and sharing stuff. Gonna work on trying to not say a lot, but so thanks for watching and holding space for me, and we'll see you next time.